Coming to you live, on location, in Virginia, or some undisclosed remote location. The one, the only.
Hey everyone. I'm Lori Kennedy, and today, we're diving into a world where friendship isn't just a word, it's an adventure. Imagine strangers becoming friends through social experimentation and unexpected twists. Sounds wild, right? Wait, what? You're probably thinking, how can this even happen? Well, we sprinkle a touch of humor and heart into everything. Our commentary will have you nodding along, laughing out loud, and sometimes even shedding a tear. We dig deep into what truly binds us together. No way, hold on. We also have panel discussions that'll leave you pondering long after the credits roll. And let's not forget the dance. Yes, dance. Because what better way to celebrate friendship than by moving to the rhythm of life? Our show-stopping dance segments will have you up on your feet, ready to join the fun. So, are you ready to embark on this unforgettable journey with us? Hit that like button if you believe in the power of friendship, and don't forget to share this adventure with your friends.
It helps if I put myself on the stage and unmute. Hello, Alan, and 5 others who are watching, wherever you are. Guess what I just did? I drove to McDonald's and back. Wait a minute. Let's not undermine my accomplishment. I drove to McDonald's and a gas station and filled up my tank and back. Thank you. I sound clear. 5 by 5. Today I'm gonna discuss why people tend to use the 5.56 or the 2.23, if you will, over the 7.62. And look at that, my thumbnail got cut off. Never trust ChatGPT to do what you should do yourself. All right. Why do I have time to put together stuff like this? Well, I was in a recent accident. No, that's not the recent one. That's me in my cruise back in January of 2021. In that incident, I had a passenger who got out and very happily took my picture of my misery, and I know where that guy lives. That car was totaled, as was Holly's Mazda very recently. I don't have any pictures of that. I also don't have any pictures of this. This is one of 2 accidents. I don't remember if it was the cruise accident or the bike accident. The cruise accident was January 3rd, 2021, and the bike accident was a little bit further back. It was in 2014, 2013, 2012. Wow, time flies. Okay. So I just meet Holly, and I'm riding my bike with flowers. I'm taking flowers to her office. It wasn't Mother's Day. Let me see, August. What would be I don't remember the occasion, but new lady in my life. And there was some occasion. I can't remember what the occasion was, but I'm being corny, and I bought her flowers, and I'm taking her on my bicycle. Why I didn't use a car, I don't know. But as I come over the bridge from the Franconia area into the Hoffman area to go into Old Town, as I turn right onto the main road there, I remember looking around, and there was an SUV pretty close on my ass. And I looked forward, just passing under the Eisenhower Metro Station. That's right, it was the Eisenhower Metro Station. And I noticed my front wheel coming off. And I quickly, and it seemed like in slow motion, but it had to be split second. I'm thinking, SUV on my ass, front wheel's coming off. This is over. This is the end. I'm going to find out if there is an afterlife right now. And of course, I saw the pavement coming towards my face, and we connected, had a momentary, what seemed like a momentary loss of consciousness. Next thing I know, a man is standing over me, seeing if I'm okay, seeing if I'm coherent. And once he got me set up, I realized a smaller car somehow got between me and that SUV. And for those of you out there who like to do your First Amendment auditing and like to scream vulgarities at cops, I want you to know that was a police officer. He was in civilian clothes. He was Alexandria City Police, and he was on his way to his retirement. That's right. It was his last day, and he was going to his retirement celebration. He saw my bike accident, put his own car between me and that SUV, and protected me from traffic. And I think he saved my life. So if you think I'm too polite to police officers, they're not all pigs. They're not all bad people. Anyway, this X-ray, I don't remember if it was the bike accident or the 2021 car accident, but ironically, it's the same kind of injury on opposite sides. This is my left side. I'm trying to remember. I can't remember which is which, but this X-ray I obtained from one of them. It was a broken clavicle, I think they call it. Oh, the right side got broken too. Well, that's what I'm dealing with now, the right side, broken clavicle. I also have some minor injuries. You're not going to see my face until everything's cleared up on my face. You might not see me on camera until I can comfortably move about outside of a sling. But today I drove, and 2 nights ago I flushed down my painkillers. It was Tylenol with codeine, Tylenol 3, I think they called it, or the generic version of it. Anyway, this is why I have time on my hands now, because I have a very similar injury to what you see there. Actually, the mirror injury. All right. But yeah, a trigger warning. Today's topic is going to be various shootings in our nation's recent history. And it occurs to me, this is about a year ago, what you're seeing here. This is in Butler County, Pennsylvania. And we'll get to details on that in a little bit. Butler County, yeah. That was about a year ago. And as a result of that, I was on a panel. Honestly, I can't remember. I think it was Sarah the Raging Tomatoes panel. I can't remember for sure. But there was a gentleman there I got into it with. I don't remember his name, but I remember distinctly he had one of those coiled handlebar mustaches. Looked like a cartoon villain. That's the distinctive thing I remember about him. And he and I got an argument about which is deadlier, the 5.56 or the 7.62. And I told myself I was going to put something together like this a year ago and throw in his face. Well, now I don't remember which panel he was on. I think Sarah's. I don't remember his name. Hopefully he'll watch this, because today I solved the argument. Which is deadlier, 5.56 or 7.62? In civilian terms, that's the 5.56 is the 223 caliber, .223, or the .308, the 30-08. The civilian numbers and the military numbers are interchangeable with the civilian and military guns. I think there are some little differences between the 223 you can buy at Walmart and the 5.56 they issue to you at the ammo supply point, but they do fit in the respective weapons. What was my next point on this? I put this together, had lunch, and forgot. Okay, what brought this back to my memory, and now that I have time to do the research. By the way, all facts I put out here are actually, is this an open panel? No, if I get through this quickly enough, I'm guessing about half an hour, I'll open the panel. If I have time, what time is it? It's 2:09 p.m. on the East Coast. Yeah, I'll probably open the panel once I get through my my monologue, as you will. All right, this character, very recently, I think it was July 29th in New York City. He drove all the way out from California. And we're going to go over to 5.56 first, the casualty rates. And then we're going to compare to the casualty rates of the 7.62. And when I say 5.56, I mean the 223. And when I say 7.62, I mean the 308. All right. Wow. Larger than normal audience, 18. Okay. I'm going to push play and some details about this. There it is. Okay. July 29th, New York City shooting. He used the 223. He hit 5 human targets. Of those 5 human targets that he hit, 4 of them are no longer with us. That gives us a 5.56 kill rate on this one incident of 80%. He is from Las Vegas. I was thinking California, somewhere out there west. Oh wow, something going on in Vegas because there's a Vegas incident in this gathering of information too. Thank you, below average Utah Dead. Okay, I'm going to go forward a little bit. And how many rounds? I don't remember. Oh, that's a good point. How many rounds? How many times did he miss? You know what? I didn't figure that into my mathing. All right, this sad scene is from, if I remember correctly, Sandy Hook. Let's bring up the research that I already forgot after lunch. Yeah, Sandy Hook, 2012. This person used the 5.56 or the 223, if you will. He hit 26 human targets. Of the human targets that he hit, 26 died. You bring a good point, below average Utah Dead. I didn't do the research how many misses. How many times did they fire and miss? And that might be good into the stats, but I'm remembering an argument I had a year ago with the guy with the handlebar mustache. I'll be quiet for the presentation. Well, I can't hear you, Ian Cope Dog. Okay, the 39 millimeter for the AK. That's a good point too. I'm really not versed on the differences there, but I went with the 7.62 or the 308. That's a good point. I should, yeah, since AKs are sometimes used too. Okay, Sandy Hook. 5 targets hit. I'm sorry, 26 targets hit. Of the 26, that's 100% kill rate for that 5.56 incident. All right, moving on to, this is Vegas. That's why I said something's going on in Vegas, because this is at a concert in Vegas. A dude went up in a hotel room, and he had several 5.56 weapons with him. And this is hard math, because he hit 413 human targets. This includes, unfortunately for the math, some of them are indirect shrapnel. Sometimes the lighter tumbling around breaks up and pieces of it can hit someone. Note other injuries from stampeding and panic, stuff like that. So we verified through hospital reports that 215 of the injuries were from gunshot wounds, either direct hits or shrapnel hits of the bullets. The fatalities, 60. Of the 215 hits, 60 were deceased from gunshot wounds, which gives us a 27.9% kill rate, which if you're rooting for the, if you're planning on the 5.56 being deadlier, that brings the average down. It's really hard to tell because there were other injuries, there were shrapnel injuries, and yeah, so, and again, we didn't do the how many rounds missed. I believe Las Vegas was over 3,500 rounds shot. That sounds right. Sadly, for this presentation, I didn't do that research. I'm going to take your word for it. Below average Utah Dead. All right. All right, so that was Vegas. What's next? This looks, oh, this is Uvalde. Oh, this isn't Texas. Okay, let's do the 5.56 math here. Unfortunately, I'm not making light of these tragedies. Please know that I'm not making light of them. All of these that I'm covering are tragedies. And if you're just joining us, trigger warning, I'm covering mass shootings, particularly with the 5.56 or 223 and the 7.62 or the 308. Robb Elementary, is that the name of the Uvalde shooting? Okay. The fucktard who went in to the elementary school, I guess it's Robb Elementary. He used the 5.56 or the 223. He hit 42 human targets. 21 of them deceased. I think all but 2 were students. I think 2 teachers and the rest were students, which gives the 5.56 a 50% kill rate for this incident. There's a lot of other politics that go into this, a lot of complaints about which police department or federal agency was in charge. But right now I'm just comparing the 5.56 to the 7.62. Not covering the politics of it, although I do get political at the end about something else, not this one. Okay, that's Uvalde. Robb Elementary. Okay, this one very famous. In fact, it had a lot of activity in Congress about it. But forgetting all that, this is the Parkland school shooting of 2018. Again, the 5.56 or 223 was used. This fuckturd hit 34 human targets, taking away the lives of 17 of them. This gives us a kill rate of 50%. All right, another tragic incident. If I'm going to talk politics, yeah, when that guy named Hogg, Daniel Hogg, 2 G's, when he became a student advocate, when he was still a minor child, that wicked, evil bitch, Marjorie Taylor Greene, before she got into Congress, she harassed the hell out of this kid. Even after she got into Congress, she talked about Hogg with 2 G's hunting from her helicopter. What an evil bitch that is. Also, I think, no, it was a 2012 one. It was Sandy Hook, David Hogg, thank you. It was a 2012 incident that Alex Jones told a lot of lies about, and he got the pantsuit off of him. All right, but I'm trying to keep out of the politics. I'm comparing casualty rates of the 223 versus the 308. All right, let's continue. That was Parkland. Yeah, that seems like yesterday. So I don't know, some impact. This is a church. Which church is this? Well, I forget a lot while I'm eating lunch. And driving without painkillers. Okay, this is Sutherland Springs Church, shooting in 2017. I actually don't remember this. I needed the internet to tell me about this. This shooter used the 223 again. We're still on 223s or 5.56. He hit 48 human targets. I didn't get the numbers of kids and clergy and parishioners, but 48 people hit. 26 of them are no longer with us. That gives the 5.56 at this incident a 54.2. Okay, someone's saying Texas, someone's saying Kentucky or Mississippi. I honestly don't know. I don't even remember this incident. This is just grabbing on research this morning before lunch. Texas, Kentucky, or Mississippi. I don't know. But the hits versus the fatalities, we have a 54.2% casualty rate. And remember, that's what these mass shooters are going for. How many kills can I get? Because they somehow think the mission is accomplished with killing innocent men, women, and children, civilians, and non-war. All right. Okay, what is next? Okay, let's do some math for the 5.56, just based on the top hits that Internet Search gave me. Okay, I'm going to add all of these kill ratios together and divide them by the number 6, and we're going to get 60%. 60% kill rate for the 5.56. All right, let's keep that in mind. And of course, to be fair, now we have to go over some of the incidents covering the use of the 7.62. And if you're just joining, notice the trigger warning at the bottom. We're talking about recent mass shootings. Is the reason you did not include the 9mm? Yeah, because this is based on an argument I had a year ago about which is deadlier, the 5.56 or the 7.62. And quite frankly, even though I have more time on my hands, this is just 5.56 versus 7.62. Yeah, I realize there's 9mm, there's 22s, there's knifings. By the way, there was very recently a very angry man went into a Walmart. I don't know what his point was, what his manifesto was, what his politics was, but he was angry and he tried to unalive 11 people with a knife. And in favor of gun control, there were 0 fatalities. So knife in that incident has a 0 fatality rate, a 0 kill rate. By the way, on the same day as Sandy Hook, on the very same day as Sandy Hook, over, I think it was China, I think in China, there was an elementary school attacked with a guy with a knife. Again, 0 fatalities. So the knife can be deadly, but the 5.56 and the 7.62 are much more effective killing weapons, killing tools. And now it's time. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't cover 9mm or many others. I think there's a 50 cal. I think there's a a handgun with a 50 cal. I didn't cover that either. Actually, some other weapons are in one of the stats. I had to scratch the math on that. We will get to that. All right. This is a very famous incident in Texas University back in the 60s. Teachers, I don't know if teachers should carry I'm not going to get into the politics right now. Who should be armed at schools and what they should be armed with? That is a very heavy, contested political issue. The buck folder with 3.5-inch blade. Okay, all right. This is a Marine veteran climbed up into this tower and started shooting people with his 7.62 weapon. All right, my video is moving slowly. The numbers are in at human targets hit 46. Fatalities of those human targets 15. That's a 32.61% kill rate. So if the gentleman with the curly mustache is watching, so far I'm winning the argument. However, it's early. I got some more mathing to do. More math. Math is hard. That's why I'm a high school dropout. All right, that was a very famous Texas shooting. This is the Waffle House. Where was the Waffle House? I think in Nashville. I haven't eaten in a Waffle House in a long time. When I was in the military, I ate at Waffle Houses all the time. Yeah, so Waffle House in Nashville in 2018. This also used the 7.62 or the 308, 30 caliber. Human targets hit 8. Fatalities 50%. So that brings up from the last one. Okay, half the people hit were killed. All right, so that's fairly deadly. All right, let's look at some more. There aren't a lot of 7.62 mass shootings. They do exist. They're a little harder to find. What is this? This is in Florida. It was a courthouse, but it was named after a baseball field. Orlando Tinkerfield sniper of 1984. Why is it in black and white? We had color in 1984. Okay. This fuck nugget used the 7.62 or the 30 caliber. He hit 19 human targets. Of those 19, 8 died from gunshot and some other unexplained fatalities. I don't know what the other are they stampeding? I'm not sure. Was something else going on? I don't remember this. Where was I in 1984? Oh, I was probably in Navy basic training or Navy A school in San Diego. Okay, that would. I probably wasn't watching CNN when this hit. Yeah, 4 out of 5 people don't have the basic understanding of simple math. For 5 out of 4 people, I just caught that. You got one over on me there. Some handguns were used at Columbine. Columbine's very famous, but that wasn't the argument. I was trying to prove my point. Okay, maybe since I have time on my hands, I will include all calibers and all types of weapons. That sounds like this took me like 3 hours to put together this morning, so I had a late lunch. All right, that was Orlando in 84, 72% kill rate. This is at McDonald's. It was a World War II. Okay, which that's part of my argument. These are single loaded 30 calibers, the 308, which is a form of 7.62, and each shot he took deliberately trying to kill that person. So technically, if he's a sniper, should be 1 shot per 1 kill. Didn't quite work out that way. Oh, wait a minute. It was not 308? Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the M1. It was the M1, which is the 7.62, or an earlier version of it. All right, let's continue. This is McDonald's. Let me see. San Ysidro McDonald's massacre in 1984. Again, I was in Navy A school or basic training. I'm not sure which. This one, ChatGPT corrected itself while I was doing the research. It was unclear what weapons were used. 21 killed, 19 wounded, and so we didn't do the math on this because we don't know how many are 7.62, how many are 5.56, 9mm shotgun, what have you. And it really, the ChatGPT, the Google search, and the Siri search did not give me the details I was looking for. Not the same as M1. It's not. What is the 308 is a 7.62. It's just one's a military measurement, one's a civilian measurement. What am I missing? It's not the same round. I mean, I get it. You buy civilian rounds as 308s, and you buy military, or you don't buy military rounds. You get issued military rounds at the ammo supply point. But isn't the 7.62 fitting in the 308 weapons, and the 308 doesn't that fit in the 7.62 weapons? I'm not sure. Okay, maybe there's more to it. Maybe that's why I got to open it up for discussion when I'm done here. All right, so we didn't add this into the math because we don't really know which weapons killed how many people. But originally it was listed as a 7.62 shooting, and then ChatGPT corrected itself, and the other ones were early. So we're not going to do the math on that. No math here. Yes, but the M1 carbine is not 308 or 7.62. It uses a 30 caliber. All right, fair enough. We should only allow people to have 6.5 Creedmoor because they aren't used in mass shootings. Well, a mass shooter is going to use what they can get, and back in the day, the 30 calibers were much more widely used than the 223s. And there's a reason for that, and we're going to get to that. All right. These aren't mass shootings. These are one-offs, serial killers. But they used, according to my web research, bolt action 7.62 or 308 weapons. Thomas Dillon, in his killing spree, he hit 5 human targets and all 5 of them died. That's 100% kill rate. Compared to Robert Card, human targets hit 31, fatalities 18, which is a 58% kill rate. So the kill rate between the two, I don't know if it's one hitting in the leg, one hitting in the head, heart. I don't know why. And I don't know why this listed on my search for mass shootings, because these are both serial killings. But since both of them got more than 4 victims, I guess the AI found it to be part of my argument. And so we are going to math that in with the 7.62 or the 30 caliber. We will math that in. And yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. We can discuss, or where am I? Okay, back to the math. Well, I really threw this together hastily, didn't I? All right. Okay, to find the average of 32, I add these numbers together. And of course, I'm a high school dropout, so I need the ChatGPT to do the math for me. We get 62.4%. The kill rate of the 30 caliber-ish weapons is 2% higher than the 223s. All right. 62% kill rate for the 7.62, the 308s, or if you will, the area of 30 caliber versus the area of the 223 caliber at 60%. There's about a 2% difference. But there's something. Nice cold soda. Oh, okay. All right. I see where this is going. This is me reminding myself. And to go off on a little soliloquy. Hey, Finkel, this is where you stop the video and read the notes at but. Okay, I'm going over to my notes now. In the cases mentioned, top hits on web searches, 150 people have died in these examples. I know there's a lot more examples. There's a lot more examples of other calibers, but 223s versus 30 calibers. 150 have died by the 223s and 46 have died by the 7.62. So yes, handlebar mustache guy wins per capita. Finkel wins in mass numbers. Why is that? Because mass shooters are typically looking, sadly, to be in the headlines and history as they want to be in history as the deadliest or most effective. They want what they consider to be fame or notoriety. I'd call it something else. For example, the first example, the New York City guy from Vegas to New York City, it appears he wanted to get attention on a common injury that occurs in football. Why did he feel he had to kill over that? I don't know, but he wanted attention on that. He wasn't trying to impress a girl or a former coworker. He literally wanted people to research his, because he knew he was going to die. He wants people to research his brain and find out more about this particular football injury that seems to occur. Another one, which Google, Siri, and ChatGPT failed me on, was the United Health shooter. I think that was also in New York City, wasn't it? The shooter who got the CEO of United Health, he wanted media attention on perceived injustices. I shouldn't say imperceived, because United Healthcare, they fucked some people over. I'm not condoning what the shooter did, but there were injustices in the insurance scams of that particular health insurance company, United Health. Others, they want to impress a high school girlfriend or an actress they never met. Remember the guy who shot Reagan? He was trying to impress Jodie Foster. I don't know why he thinks killing the president or shooting the president would impress an actress. That makes no sense to me. Trust me, any mass shooter can qualify for the insanity plea because this shit is insane. The goal is to achieve perceived success, as in most confirmed kills or maximum confirmed kills. To them and their objectives, the 5.56 is more effective than the 7.62. I mean the 223 versus the 30 calibers. Why? Because it's lighter. The ammo is cheaper. The lighter weight ammo, it tumbles more in flight. Once it leaves the muzzle of the barrel until it hits something, it's tumbling very quickly. And when it hits an arm or a leg or a torso, it literally climbs through the flesh, tearing up more flesh. The 7.62 or the 30 caliber is more of a man stopper, or if you're a hunter, a deer stopper, elk, buffalo, whatever it is you hunt. It's a big hole. It can take off a limb, a head. It will literally end you most of the time when it hits you, as we saw in the math, 62% versus 60%. The 5.56 or 203 will literally climb up a bone as it tumbles and rips through the flesh. That's why the military went with it as its primary boots on the ground weapon. I mean, I get it. There's crew serve weapons. There's 50 cals and M60s, and there's bombs and all kinds of weapons. But when it comes to the American grunt versus the North Vietnamese grunt, their basic weapons, they found that the 5.56 was more effective because it would wound someone on the battlefield. And when you have wounded, you have more obligation to rescue the wounded. So the guy comes out of the wood line, he gets shot, he's wounded, he's still alive. Now 2 more guys have to come out of the wood line. And I told you not to text me while I'm live streaming. All right. And when those 2 other guys come out to carry him, you get 2 more casualties because you get to shoot him. So you get a higher casualty rate, and it's lighter. And what I found when I dropped out of high school and joined the military, I was 17. That was a pretty retarded move to drop out of high school at 17. So I wasn't the brightest boy on the block. So you can take a 17-year-old high school dropout, and he can efficiently learn rapid magazine changes. If you look at the 5.56 magazine, they can be 10, 20, 30 rounds. I hear they got bigger magazines. I don't understand why. But you have more rounds per magazine. There was an early AR called the AR-10. It used the 7.62, but its magazine only carried 10 rounds. So you're going to have to change rounds more often. But anyway, back to the AR-15. A dropout in high school and a 2-week BRM, basic rifle marksmanship, and military basic training can very quickly learn rapid magazine changes, reducing a stoppage, that we used to call it sports. That's S, slap up on the magazine. P, pull on the charging handle back. O, observe the round and the chamber. T, R, release the charging handle. T, tap on the forward assist. And then S, squeeze the trigger. And it's like that. Once you drill it 3 or 4 or 10 or 20 times, it's just like real quick. And the same thing with the rapid magazine change. Not so quick with the 30 caliber, the multiple magazine 30 calibers. A lot of 30 calibers were bolt action, single. You put one round in, you lock and load, you take aim, you fire, you eject the cartridge, you put another round. It's much slower. Even the magazine fed ones, they're slower, like dot 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 dot, versus the it's a faster rate. The 5.56 has lower recoil and faster follow-up shots, as you just did my really lame sound effect. It has higher magazine capacity. I just covered that. The ammunition weight and carry capacity, and it's easier to obtain and cheaper to obtain, and it's much easier to maintain. So 5.56 shootings produce more total deaths, not per capita, but more total deaths because the platform allows shooters to hit more people quickly with a lot less training. A dumb 17-year-old high school dropout can qualify expert inside of 2 weeks of training. And that 2 weeks isn't just training on that. It's also marching to and from mess halls. It's barracks maintenance. It's learning drill and ceremony, general orders. So it's not 2 solid weeks of nothing but basic rifle marksmanship. And that's for retarded little old me. The only thing I ever shot before basic training was a BB gun or a 22. Yeah. All right. So the 7.62 has a slightly higher fatality rate per person hits, but it's less common because the rifles are harder to handle in rapid fire scenarios. All right, what else? We're almost at the end here. 38 minutes. So yeah, whoever asked earlier, I will have time for an open panel. Let's go back to what happened a year ago. This is in Butler County, Pennsylvania. It's not really a mass shooting, but his choice of weapon was the 223 5.56. This is the argument we had a year ago about which was deadlier, and he was right. Per capita, the 7.62 or the 30 caliber is deadlier per hit. But remember this guy. This guy in Butler County, Pennsylvania, he hit 2 people, 1 fatality. A lot of people forget that. Although the president is very famous for this incident, somebody else there died. I won't get into conspiracy theories now about who was really the target, but I have questions. All right. Some people argued that this was going to win him the election. I don't know if that's what won him the election, but yeah. A 50% kill rate is fairly effective considering the shooter allegedly did this bit while Secret Service and law enforcement were protecting his alleged targets. Yeah, I said alleged targets. Okay. Oh, and by the way, when a 5.56 or a 223 round from less than 150 meters hits you in the earlobe, that ear is getting completely ripped off. Can we say indirect shrapnel? Indirect shrapnel. Sure. I knew you could. All right. And that ends my grandstanding and gives me plenty of time to do whatever. Right, 9 of you survived. That's pretty amazing for this channel. Let's say I post a little StreamYard link, so if anybody wants to come up and talk about this or anything else, you are more than welcome. Or not. Whichever. All right. In both my channels, there's a link. That link will pull you up on StreamYard. You don't have to show your face. I'm not showing my face. Well, I'm not showing my current face. That's my face there, but you don't get to see my face for another week or two. Live, I mean. All right. But yeah, that link right there is, if you click on that, you'll get, if you've never been on StreamYard before, it'll make, you need a mic. You need a mic connected to whatever device, phone, tablet, computer. And you don't have to have a camera. You can have the camera off, or you can have no camera connected at all. Let me see these chats. We are getting into a 15 propaganda, Mr. Fingal. You are not talking science. I don't know. I did some research this morning. The numbers I gave you are facts. So I don't know. Yeah, I threw my opinions on top of that. Give me a 165 grain 30 caliber at 2,850 feet per second, nozzler ballistic tip, designed to create massive wound canal. I don't want you to have that. If I had it to give you, I wouldn't give it to you. Okay. I thought this might be a little unbiased, but clearly I was wrong. Oh, the numbers are unbiased, but you think that the easiest range for an AR-15 to hit its target, being between 100 and 150 meters, you think that missed its target. Okay. Or do you think that that shrapnel hitting the ear and the bullet hitting the ear would have the same effects? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, suit yourself if you want to believe that. Did you know a 50 caliber machine gun was originally meant to be a sniper rifle? It's more effective as a machine gun. If you stand 300 meters downrange and hold your hand out, your arm full extended, with your finger pointing, and that round hits you in the last knuckle of the finger, it'll rip off your whole arm. Well, it's very similar to if a 5.56 hits you in the earlobe. Your ear is gone. All right, 300 Win Mag took out that Patsy. 300 Win. I'm not sure what that. I'm not sure. No, it does not. I'm sorry, with the delay. I timed it. There's an 18-second delay, so I'm not sure what you're responding to, and I'm not sure how long ago you put that there. Well, actually, I am sure. At 2:40 p.m. Eastern time. Okay, you put it 3 minutes ago. I've said so many things in the last 3 minutes. I don't know what exactly. No, it does not. I don't know. Okay. Okay. Oh, I haven't seen Fletch in a minute. Any Spitzer bullet traveling at high speed will yaw or fish hook. It's because the nose of the bullet is lighter than the base. I don't know. Okay. And we have someone backstage. Let me do a quick authentication. Okay. All right. Come on up. Add to stage. When I click on add to stage, you get up here. There you go. How you doing? It's online wonder.
Is my audio okay? Yeah.
Beg your pardon?
Is my audio okay? No issues?
No issues with the equipment. Issues with my Americanized ears. You have an accent. Not really sure what it is, but I will do my
Oh
best.
yeah, I apologize. I'm from the
No.
UK. Sorry.
Don't apologize. You speak English. We have an accent. So how are you today?
I'm great, thank you. When I was posting in the chat earlier, I come across your stream. I was very intrigued about what you were discussing and saying, so I just figured if it was all right for me to jump in.
Oh, yeah. By all means, all are welcome to attend until a man named Muxer comes out, gets mad at you, and kicks you out.
Well, I know that I am from the UK, so the one thing I will say is that I won't speak on behalf of Americans because obviously I don't live there, so I'm not going to try and raise any points that I don't understand about. And secondly, any issues with my audio or anything I say, just let me know.
Okay, your audio is fine. I want to put it out there. I am American born of American parents and lived in America most of my life. However, when I was very young, my first schooling was in England.
Nice.
Suffolk County. I think the school was called Earl Salm in
Oh,
Grandiston.
Suffolk, yeah.
And my first day of school, your countrymen made fun of me because my president was a crook. And I'm like, I went home like, Mom, what is a crook and what is a president? And she just laughed. At the time, we were going through something called the Pentagon Papers with a man named Nixon.
Oh, yeah,
And
yeah.
it turns out he was a president and he was a crook. So
well, in fairness,
right.
Which president isn't a crook?
Yeah, that's a good point. That is a very good point. Oh, and Fletch says, Finkel, also the 5.56 FMJ loading, the 55 grain M93. I don't know these weapons. Was shown to do this after leaving a 20-inch barrel. Oh, that's true. I didn't take into account barrel length. Does have something as the coiling, the rifling does change some of the parameters. I am no expert on this subject. That's why I used I searched GPT, I searched Google, and I searched Siri. Why not show some videos on the 150? You know, I went with still shots, and I minimize actual pictures of guns because I co-host this StreamYard with some other fellows, Ariel, Killing Time, Muxter, and Nikki. And one time they did a YouTube video, they're restreaming a YouTube video of a gun shop, and we actually got banned for a week because we're not given the okay by YouTube to show the use of guns.
Yeah, YouTube only allows certain channels to show the usage of guns, like Forgotten Weapons and some accounts that are owned by gun shop owners. For everyone else, it's a different rule.
Yep. I wanted to demonstrate sports, quite rapid magazine changes, how easy it is for someone who hasn't touched these things in 27 years, how easy it was for a 17-year-old high school dropout. But I thought about, that's right, we got banned for a week. Can't show that stuff. But you can look it up. There are YouTube channels that are allowed to put that up. Yeah. Do stoppages on AR-15s, rapid magazine changes. It's all out there. It's just out there with YouTube channels who are somehow privileged to show that stuff where I'm not.
Yeah, it tends to be YouTube channels that are based around firearms or always involved with them. Do you know, like Brandon Herrera and Forgotten Weapons, where their entirety of their content is firearm based. So they've got like the exception to the rule. But for everyone else, if you show something like that, you get penalized.
All right. Fletch, are you an enthusiast? Are you a gun collector, gun shop owner? I can't remember who was on that panel. It was a year ago. I think it was Sarah's channel. I wish I could remember the guy's name because, boy, I'm a procrastinator. I put this off for a year. And I guess I probably could have put a little more thought into it. Someone asked, why don't I cover the 9mm and I'm assuming the 50 cal, what do you call it, Desert Eagle. I'm not real familiar with these things, but I was living in the past and on one argument, 5.56 versus 7.62. I am a
Yeah, because I know for the
not.
fact that with America, when it comes to certain firearms, the two issues is it depends on the state you're living in, and it also depends on the weaponry that you're available to purchase. You know,
Yeah.
because for example, civilians can't purchase military grade equipment. They can purchase weapons that are a large caliber, but they can't buy a fully automatic Barrett 50 cal. You know.
That's true. For a nation under one constitution, it is interesting how different states and different cities have different gun laws. I have my stepbrother's son. I guess this makes him my step nephew. He joined the Marine Corps during the last war, Afghanistan and Iraq, and he didn't go stay in for a career. But when he got out, he decided he wanted to privately own one weapon. I don't remember what the weapon was. But the only state that allows that weapon in private hands is Montana.
I was about to say, yeah, Montana, because they deal with a lot of wildlife, so you do need large caliber firearms.
He settled in Montana. Had never been there before. I'm assuming he knew nothing about it, but he based the rest of his life on the allowance him to own this one particular weapon. I wish I remembered what the weapon was, but I'm like, holy cow, he's from Boston. He's been in New York, and he's been, in the Marine Corps around the world. He settles in Montana. That just didn't make sense to me.
It's a beautiful state and very lovely people.
Yeah. You know what else is beautiful? The countryside I remember in England around Monadon Hall Farm. Of course, it's a childhood memory. I don't know. I remember the big thing when we came back to the States was, we want to try McDonald's, but I understand you guys have McDonald's now, so I guess that's not a big deal anymore.
Yeah, we've got a weird McDonald's as well, where the large portions would be considered small in America, and we cook them differently.
We could definitely learn a lot about portion control around here. Me included.
Well, yeah.
All right. Paul Harrell did a few videos on 5.56 and shotgun for home defense use. Okay. I don't know who that is. And someone is in the background. Quick authentication. Okay, that is who they say they are. And once again, when I click on come up stage, what am I doing wrong here? All right. Alan, I see you, and I'm having a hard time. Says they will need to connect their mic before you can add them to stream. So you're in the basement, Alan, but I can't pull you up until you have a.
Oh yeah, StreamYard won't allow you to join if you've got nothing connected at all.
Yeah. You
might have to leave the backstage, rejoin, and allow access.
Gotcha. At some point, it says, "Do you want mic and camera to have access?" And you don't have to show your camera. You can cover.
Yeah, you just have to click allow. Yeah.
Pistol ammo will do the same as buckshot, but will carry their energy in a straight line. Okay, this is stuff I don't know. Thank you, Fletch. I do not know. I mean, they trained us on the 45 in the Navy. It was very minimal training. Very, very, in fact, so minimal that when our ship went through there he is. Okay, do you want your camera off, or give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come up? Okay. All right. How you doing, Alan?
I'm doing very well today. You're talking about one of my favorite subjects in so much as firearms, not deadly shootings of humans, but firearms in general.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm old as dirt. I'm a hand loader sportsman. Got my first firearm as a child at the age of 6, at 22.
Wow.
30-30 at 7, 20 gauge shotgun at 8. My father was a country boy from Oklahoma, allowed me to shoot as much as I wanted, but I had to learn how to reload because that was the economical way to do it. A little history on the 5.56. compared to the 7.62 NATO 308. The 5.56 was designed and selected because the amount of time it takes to train, you alluded to it, to train someone to shoot a heavier caliber became prohibitive. When they were trying to channel people into the Vietnam era war, they wanted to get them in and get them out and get them over. That was the motto. That was the motto. If you do a little Google search later on, you'll see that the United States military has done studies after major engagements such as World War I, World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, and the average number of rounds expended to create a fatality or deadly wound. That number has gone up in quantum leaps because they no longer train people to be effective riflemen. The only branch that does that today is still the Marine Corps. I'm not a veteran, but if you want to talk to any Marine, they will tell you that every Marine is a rifleman, and they tell you that proudly. I have two nephews that are both, two cousins that are both Marine vets, and they take it very serious when they talk about their abilities with long arms. It pisses them off that having never been in the service, I'll outshoot them both. I was trained by a good person, a very, very well-versed country boy, as we say. I'm going to expound one quick minute. I believe in gun control firmly, even though I'm an advocate of the Second Amendment. I believe gun control is hitting what the hell you shoot at.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much my sentiment as well, because with the Constitution as a whole, the Second Amendment is very important. I do believe in gun control, but I also wouldn't want to see it restricted heavily as well.
The only military firearms I've ever had a desire to own, I do like the M1 Garand. General Patton conferred upon that the nomenclature of being the greatest battle instrument ever designed. And at the time, it certainly was. I also am a very big fan of the M1A1, which commonly referred to as the M14 in 308 caliber, 7.62 NATO.
Yeah.
I believe that in a battle situation, now again, not military, I'm not. I want something that'll bust through some brush. That little 222 caliber bullet, actually a 22 caliber bullet, traveling at 3,300 feet per second, hits a small branch, smaller than your finger. It deflects or destroys because it's an extremely thin jacketed bullet to keep the weight low and the velocity up. There was some reference earlier about it tumbling when it leaves the barrel. It does not tumble when it leaves the barrel. It tumbles because it's extreme velocity. When it mushrooms and deforms upon striking an object, it deforms in a very irregular shape, which causes it to create a crazy wound canal pattern and direction. There were rumors that during the Vietnam era, that hit someone in the wrist and the bullet can change direction, travel up their arm, and take out their chest. That's wives' tales.
That's quite an exaggeration. I know they climb and move around.
But I was gonna say as well, just quick, with another reason why the 22 gets a bad rap as well is because some of the most effective weapons that take the 22 LR aren't accessible by civilian market.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
The average,
is it called the Honeybee with the top down drum mag?
The American cartridge you might be thinking about is the 22 Hornet.
I might be wrong there. Sorry.
It was an early 20th or mid 20th century 22 caliber bottleneck cartridge designed by, I believe it was by Winchester, but it was designed for a bolt action rifle for what in America we call varmint shooting groundhogs and that type of thing.
Yeah.
it strokes at about 3,500 feet per second.
Okay. I always thought that it came out of the barrel tumbling. So you're saying it starts to tumble because of its high velocity and lightweight later on in flight?
Not necessarily in flight. You look at a bullet hole from a 5.56 at 300 to 400 yards downrange, and it'll be a round hole through that paper. That's not tumbling. Yeah. But you let it hit something, and it immediately deflects, deforms, then deflects into various directions.
Okay.
It's extremely unstable because of the velocity and the way that the bullet is designed to deform. Modern hunting bullets, projectiles, are designed for extremely uniform mushrooming deformity once impact is made. If you look at what's known as a full metal jacket, which is a solid used in Africa for African big game, it's a full coppered bullet. It has no lead core, but it's designed to uniformly mushroom and penetrate deep. I made reference to that 30 caliber Nosler, 165 grain. It was one of the first plastic tip bullets designed. And it was designed with a plastic tip so that the lead would not deform when the rifle, heavy caliber like a 300 Weatherby Magnum, recoiled back. The magazine box would slam into the front of the lead, deform it. Now you've got some inconsistency in the shape of the curvature of the front of the bullet. It creates aerodynamic anomalies.
Yeah, see, I was going to say that. Oh, sorry, mate, you finish.
Yeah, no. When you start,
sorry about that.
That's quite all right. When you start throwing cartridges out at, projectiles at 500 or 600 yards that are inconsistently shaped in the front, you lose what's known as the ballistics coefficient. In other words, the ability to cut through the wind and remain stable. The amount of drag is actually what a BC is, a ballistics coefficient.
Yeah, because I was going to say then the most guaranteed way to make a bullet tumble. In World War I, the Germans would take the tips of the rifle bullets and take them off, turn them around, and put them back in. And because it did not have the aerodynamics behind the bullet, that's what led to tumbling.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
For the audience, Fletch is referring us to a Paul Harrell shotgun video. I'm not going to show it here because in the past we got kicked out of YouTube for a week for showing these kind of videos. It isn't showing in the links. If you come up, if you don't want to be on stage, you come up halfway and put it in the private chat, and then I can post the link. But I can't show it because I don't want to get banned from YouTube, but I can refer the audience to watch it.
Yeah, the only way you'd be able to show it is if you censored the actual, the firearm itself.
Yeah. I don't have the time or the will to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're not a mod, actually, what I can do is I can give you temporary modded status, and you can put in timeout. No, I guess I have to go to YouTube side for that. All right, YouTube. Are you in the main channel? Yes, you're in the main channel. Okay.
To say that in fairness, at least the US censorship isn't as bad as the UK one at the moment.
Can kill. All right, we switch. I'm a very bad host. I wasn't prepared for this.
Oh, no, it's okay. Don't worry.
I'm going to switch account to Main Finkel and Fletch. Don't let it go to your head, Fletch. This is temporary. I'm going to make you a mod so you can put a link in the chat. Let me see. Where are you? Oh.
I was going to say you could have posted it yourself and then pinned it, but I forget how the live chat works.
Add as a moderator. Okay, Fletch, you are Omni Domni, now a moderator. And once you post that link, I'll take your mod away. All right. I get distracted easily.
That's all right. Tell you what, Finkel, could I ask them, what's your stance on like the Second Amendment or like gun control?
I believe in the Second Amendment, but I fear my interpretation is different than a lot of people who lean a lot further right than I do. I like Alan's explanation of gun control. You just aim better. You control the gun better. That was good. I think these weapons, the 5.56 or the 7.62 or the AK version, I don't think they should be as easily obtained as they are. I do believe we need an armed citizenry, but we shouldn't just willy-nilly let anybody have it without any background checks, without any. I believe in red flag laws, yellow flag laws, but I also recognize that I am powerless for the Supreme Court. They're going to rule against me every time, as they have been.
Oh no, that's a completely, that's a completely fine position, because I'm with sort of like the same camp with yourself, where the Second Amendment shouldn't be restricted, but we certainly should have. Well, America certainly should have really not restrictive, but really oversighted gun control.
Yeah. Now, Fletch's link to the shotgun video, I believe it is, it's pinned. And if you click on that, actually, there's two different videos. Okay, the first one is pinned. The second one, if people want to watch it, they'll just have to click on it from the main channel. If you're in the sub channel, if you're in Shadow Finkel, you won't see it. So if you want to see the links, go over to the main Finkel channel. And I think, wow, usually I get like 5 or 6 in my audience. Today I had up to 18. I think when I slammed on Trump, I lost a lot of folks. That's okay.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell me you had fans. Don't tell me you had snowflakes in the audience.
There are snowflakes everywhere. They are everywhere.
If you liked at some point to really look at an interesting long-range shooting competition, I don't know if they still hold it, but it was put on by an extremely right-wing individual in Golden, Colorado, the Coors family, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
They put on a European-style event known as a Schützenfest, which was shooting at 1,000 yards with single-shot, falling block, rifles, black powder. You would generally, you're so meticulous in getting repetitive rounds downrange, you're casting your lead bullet right there at the bench. You're resizing the brass used in the cartridge, usually something like a 45-110, which means a 45 caliber bullet with 110 grains of black powder behind it, to single shot iron sights at 1,000 yards and hitting approximately a 30-inch circle. That is some outstanding. It's kind of like the old Quigley shooting.
Right.
That type of thing.
I was going to say what you were saying then. That actually goes back to the British Army training when they were starting to mobilise in Africa with and what you said, the 45 with 110 grams of black powder. That's meant to replicate what they were firing from a Martini Henry rifle.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I've seen very impressive shooting coming out of Switzerland, where children are better marksmen than I ever could imagine being. But they don't have a very high crime rate. I'm like, so there is something to be said about a citizenry armed and trained.
Trained is the key word.
Trained. Yeah.
In fact,
what I don't understand.
With the Swiss military, once you complete your service in the Swiss military, you take your military weapon home with you. They provide you with ammunition each month if you request it to stay well versed in the proper use of that firearm. And I'm talking about to be accurate, properly maintained. if you want to talk about snipers and proper use and training from an early age, there was a gentleman, a Finnish gentleman in the
Simo Hoya.
early, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, White Death.
Suno, I believe his name was.
Simo Hoya, otherwise known as White Death.
There you go. That man killed more Russians as a single individual in the forgotten war during the Finnish winter than you'll ever. It was triple digits, something above 300. They say possibly over 500.
Yeah,
just unbelievable shooting. But it's like shooting a basketball. It's muscle memory. You do it every day.
Well, I was going to say the thing with Simo as well is that he was that much of a problem. Moscow trained specialist sniper groups to go after him. And
Yes,
the only time they came close was when they fired an explosive round. It hit him in the face. He survived, went back to active duty, and lived to the ripe old age of, I think, like 84.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
And when he was, a lot of years later, when he was asked about his participation in the war, he was asked, what was it like to unalive people then? And he said, what do you mean? He was like, well, what did you feel? And he went, the recoil.
Yes. Yeah, he was a very fascinating individual, very humble too. Very, very humble in his later years. Did not consider himself to be a hero at all.
No, yeah, he was literally just, I'm doing my part. That's it.
Yes, exactly right.
I don't know how he compares to the example you guys are talking about, but we had a American sniper. I can't remember his name.
Is it Chris Kyle?
Thank you.
No, even before that, Vietnam, it was Carlos Hatchcock.
Oh, okay, I was thinking of the Kyle character, the more recent one. Very accomplished sniper. I don't know how that compares to the White Death, but very big in the United States, very heroic. When he got out of the war, he helped treat American soldiers and Marines. He helped treat their PTSD by taking them to the shooting range.
Yes.
And which was very effective in most cases, but unfortunately, he was unalived by one of his students.
At the range.
At the range, yeah, in a controlled environment. I'm like, wow. So does that mean we should have more gun control? No. But there is something wrong in our society where a guy can drive from Las Vegas across the country to New York City with an AR-15 and not commit a crime until he walks into a building and shoots I think the first person was a police officer or a security guard.
Police officer.
Yeah. I don't know how to control that, but that's not a one-off.
See, the thing I would say is that even if you had like one of the most strictest gun controls that was implemented across the US, there might be some really good effects to it. But the problem is that illegal firearms still exist. And even if you were to, for example, let's say you were to confiscate all the legal guns in America, there's still a lot of illegal guns as well. And, even with strict control laws, there are still people with guns out there who have got them illegally. And how do you stop them if the gun laws don't affect them?
That's a good point. The genie is out of the bottle of the bad guys having firearms that I would say shouldn't have them. Fletch is an absolutist. He thinks not infringed at all. And I get it. That's what the Constitution says, shall not be infringed. But clearly, this guy recently in New York City, he had some kind of brain injury. His way of thinking was something was wrong with it. How do you judge that when he buys the gun, when he gets his background check, when he crosses state lines? I don't know how to judge that, but clearly he got all the way to New York City and did his evil deeds.
Yeah, it's a case of, well, is that there's the problem is as well is that there is also a lot of factors that can play into it. For example, if someone is of legal standing mind and they purchase a firearm, but later down the line they snap mentally, you can't like foresee that. And but it could also be a case of at the end of the day, America is a massive country with a huge populace of people, and it's very hard to keep track of every single person.
Yeah.
You never will.
No,
Never will.
definitely not.
Never will. That's true.
And I'll point out one thing for Fletch that you said is 100% pro-constitutionalist on the Second Amendment. Don't forget the language in there that also not only guarantees you the right to the firearm, but makes reference to a well-regulated militia. So there are constraints. There are constraints.
Right.
And for any Republican that wants to say, oh, the Democrats are going to come get your guns, it was a Republican who we have in office right now that says, we don't need to worry about it. Just take the shit and we'll worry about filing the paperwork later. We'll worry about straightening it. That was Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
So for all the people that say that the Democrats are going to take your guns, how many have had your guns taken on a mass scale?
I like how gun sales go up when they think a Democrat's going to win, because people want to hoard them because they think it's going to be illegal. And every time the Democrat wins, they don't restrict. In fact, gun laws got looser under Obama.
Yes, they did.
I remember had a friend of a friend, I guess it's a friend twice removed, big time gun enthusiast. When he thought Hillary Clinton was going to win the presidency, he went out and bought 20 AR-15s.
Oh,
that to me alone should have triggered some kind of investigation, but he was doing it for profit. He bought 20 AR-15s for the purpose of when Hillary won, he'd sell them at a highly inflated rate. He was going to make a big profit.
Not only was he going to sell them at an inflated rate, but he was going to sell them without having a federal firearms dealer's license.
That's a good point too. But much to his dismay, or I don't know, Trump won, Hillary lost, and the value of AR-15s did not skyrocket. he lost a lot of money on that gamble.
I'll be real honest, and it's going to sound very crass because I'm never going to do this. But if I had intentions of creating massive wound canal in an individual, I would take a simple bolt action rifle with a 12x9 Leopold scope on it and 30-06 with one of my custom hand loads, because I can put it inside a 10-inch circle at 500 yards. You'll never hear the gun go off.
Oh, right, because the wound canals created before you can hear it.
No, the bullet gets there before sound.
Right. The bullet travels faster than the speed of sound. 10-inch circle at 500 yards.
Yes.
Salute.
Not that difficult.
Yeah.
It's not that difficult if you practice.
Yeah. I'm sure if you.
No, of course, no. It's down to the individual as well. The fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was able to unalive JFK with a World War II Italian rifle.
That's the irony there. I'm old enough. I had a 6.5 millimeter Carcano. I purchased it through the NRA prior to 1968 as a child. That was my first deer rifle. That was the biggest piece of junk I'd ever owned in my life.
Yeah.
All right.
You could back then, if you opened up a copy of the American Rifleman magazine, which was published by the NRA, on the very back page would show 20 to 25 different Army surplus, world armies, different armies that you could buy through the mail. For my 6.5 millimeter Carcano, I paid $29.95 plus shipping. Mailed to the house. Mailed to the house. My father was an adult, so my father went and got the money order for me, and I mowed a lot of lawns. But I had a deer hunting rifle that I couldn't hit the side of a barn with it. Lee Harvey Oswald did not shoot John F. K. Not with that rifle.
Yeah.
No. I understand. It's a topic for discussion, but that rifle could not have made those 3 shots in that amount of time.
We cleared that up in 2016.
Yes, we did.
It was Senator Cruz's father.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. By the way, I do personally know a very liberal, open-minded, left-wing. Some of the righties might call him a left-turded libtard, like me, and he owns firearms. He lives a part of the country where even the liberals love their firearms, and I think he's in the chat. Or actually, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was going to say, at the end of the day, don't let politics play a part into playing like what is granted to you by the Constitution, whether you're left wing, right wing, or whichever. The Constitution is there for you, and use it, cherish it.
My apologies. He's not in the chat. He's in the private chat. Okay. But apparently he's got some ICE news, which
but yeah, use what is granted to you by the Constitution. It's your right, and no matter which side or which viewpoint you take, you've got every right to do that.
Yeah. GMK, haven't seen this person in a minute. Fletch, that's a misinterpretation of the Second Amendment. Stevens and Brennan had more absolutist interpretation of the Second Amendment, and that's quite different. Okay, we're going to get ourselves a little back and forth in the chat, which I have my opinions. I like the well-regulated part, which I think feeds a lot into what we mentioned earlier about how Switzerland has a very well-armed and trained citizenry and a very low crime rate. They don't drive across Switzerland and try to off NFL people and end up getting BlackRock people.
And part of that is because they know that if you try to come into someone's house in Switzerland, that household is armed and well trained, well versed in the utilization of that firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's here.
Plus, here's a very important point that goes right alongside gun control. They have excellent mental health granted by the state. Imagine that novel concept.
Oh, that does sound pretty novel. We should try something like that instead of removing.
It certainly should be as well, because as I said, if you buy a firearm when you're sane, but then you snap, you don't. Obviously, you can't predict that or foresee it. It can happen. Anything can happen. Like the Texas Tower guy, he just snapped one day and that was it.
I'm very glad, because my ass is sticking to my chair, that Muxter is here. Muxter is one of the channel owners, and because he's here, I'm going to step outside for a minute. Be careful. He has rules. I don't have very many rules, but I'm gonna be back in a few minutes. Thanks for joining, Muxter. You have the con for 3 to 5 minutes.
I just wanted to say that, as I said in chat, I own guns. I've killed innocent animals. And I don't think putting guns in everybody's house makes anything safer. I don't think you need to have a 357 on your hip to go down to the convenience store and buy a hoagie. I just don't believe that guns make us safer.
The thing I would say is that you are right in the sense that guns don't make us safer, but I would also say that guns don't make us unsafer as well, because the problem is that it always comes down to individual and circumstance, where I could point to a lot of situations that prove owning a gun has saved lives or this and that, but you could also point to situations where guns have led to escalation or more of a problem. I'm in the middle in the sense that, go on.
Well, when you said you could point to where a gun saved somebody, my side of that is I could point to 100 examples.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. You could point to examples where guns have become a problem.
Well, yeah, but you made it sound like it was a one-on-one thing, and I'm saying guns.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, no. Yeah, I wasn't trying to do that. Sorry, I was simply saying that there is positives and negatives to gun ownership, but I would say that overall, it still needs to be an implementation, because it's ground rooted into the Constitution, and B, even if you got rid of all legal firearms, that doesn't get rid of illegal firearms.
Now, I missed whatever GMK had said somebody misrepresented the Second Amendment on. Since you brought up the Constitution, what is your understanding of the Second Amendment?
For me personally, I would say that the Second Amendment, it's a right that is afforded to Americans, but I also believe that it should evolve with society.
How about you, Alan? You seem to be a firm Second Amendment guy.
I believe that the Second Amendment is open to regulation. By that, I mean that, but I'll be straight up. I live in California.
Oh,
I've
God,
lived
sorry.
No, not at all. I'm sitting in 72-degree weather. I'm not tripping. You know what I mean? People can
No,
say
it's
what
just
they
saying it's
want about.
California. That I know it's a bit rough down there.
Well, I live in the San Francisco Bay Area. It's not rough for me. I live
Oh, okay.
I live in a very nice neighborhood in San Mateo, California. Do a Google search on it. It's a very, very nice area.
Okay.
Right near Silicon Valley, a little bit north. It's on the peninsula, south of San Francisco. But I do believe that there was a period of time as a teenager growing up. I'm in my early 70s. As a teenager growing up, I could go to the rifle range with an M1 carbine, 30 caliber, with a 30-shot banana clip because it was World War II surplus. I see no reason to piss and moan and cry because the state of California has told me you don't need a 30 caliber or 30 round clip. I agree with them. I don't. So I've got two 15s. What's the difference? You know what I mean? It's certain things are common sense. Personally, I'm gonna use a little vulgarity just to emphasize my point. I wouldn't have a fully automatic firearm, military style, up my ass if I had room for Texas. I have no need for it. But if somebody else wants to have one and you want to spend that $500 for a federal license in a state that allows it, I live in California. It's not my business. I can vote for a Senate and a House of Representatives that will outlaw it nationwide at some point, but not with the current Supreme Court. That's the system I live within.
I'm back.
My thing on like automatics is I've only fired one once in my life. My cousin had one, and I think they're cool. I wouldn't mind having them, but I think maybe a good compromise for that would be like a gun like that it had to be at a gun range. It was like, you have a locker at a gun range and you could go there and shoot it for fun, because an automatic, who's going to go out and hunt squirrels with an automatic or whatever? It's not really a sporting gun. It's just something to
Definitely, like the civilians, they don't need an automatic, especially as well, because you have to have specialized training with an automatic. That they kick in an unbelievable way, and it's so hard to control. So someone who buys an automatic who's inexperienced could lead to, like fatal mistake.
The only fully automatic weapon I've ever fired, believe it or not, I was on a deer hunt here in California, archery equipment only. And one of the guys in the camp, there were about eight or nine vehicles up there. And one of the guys, I had some targets set up, and I'm practicing with my bow. And he said, "You mind if I shoot at it?" I said, "Not at all." He walked to his camper truck and he came out with a 9mm Uzi and completely obliterated my $45 target for broadhead arrows. And I went ahead and fired it after he had destroyed my target for my archery gear. And it was fun. It was interesting. It was noisy and a waste of every round after the third one. After the third one, I wasn't hitting anything but goddamn, blew the dirt on the side of the hill. It's crazy to try to shoot something like that. It's made for high volume, low training, cover a broad area with a lot of flying lead and something's going to fall. You watch a lot of the clips from Vietnam. Granted, someone's shooting at you. You're going to hide behind something. But they reach up above, don't aim. Just spray. We got unlimited ammo. Just spray some shit out there. You might hit something. And that's how they train people.
Yeah, you're right there, because I was going to say in Vietnam, the point man was given like a large box magazine and a fully automatic weapon. So if they spotted something, they could literally just obliterate what's in front of them. And, you know, and A, it was to trick the enemy into thinking that it was a large squadron, and B, just to, if someone was in front of you, they're not anymore.
Yeah, especially with an M60, because it was 7.62 NATO.
Yeah.
I see a question in the chat. I don't know if it's directed at me or not, but I'm gonna give my interpretation of the Second Amendment. I am sworn to the Constitution. I believe in my oath. Keep in mind, my interpretation is wrong according to the majority of the votes in this nation. It's wrong according to most Supreme Court rulings, and it's wrong according to most state laws and circuit court rulings. But my wrong interpretation of a well-regulated militia being before we had a standing Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, was each individual able-bodied male being trained on the weapons, being necessary to the security of a free state, so we can prevent the Brits from coming back and enforcing their parliamentary and king rules on us. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, means the people combined. Keep in mind, I know that I'm wrong. This is my interpretation. Shall not be infringed means that as a people, as a whole, we will have police forces and armies and national guards, or very well-trained, able-bodied people 18 years and older. One more time, I know I'm wrong. That's just my interpretation.
Well, you are correct there as well, because within the Constitution it says that if you
wait a minute, it's my turn, damn it.
Sorry.
You have a bad habit of interrupting people halfway through a sentence. I noticed you were doing that.
Sorry about
before. But this is what GMK was talking to. He's been going back and forth with Fletch.
Oh, okay.
And my thing on this of what Fletch said about being able to stand up to the Army is what I think is a bunch of shit. It was invented a few years ago by the NRA types. It was never meant that way. They did not say, oh, a well-regulated militia being necessary to keep us safe from our own government. That's just a crock. That's just something that they made up so that they can say we like our guns. And by the way, if you look elsewhere in the Constitution, which people never do, there is a line in the under the duties of Congress that says Congress is the ones who are in charge of the well-regulated militia. It's not just a bunch of clowns who decide that they are the militia. My idea of what the well-regulated militia is today is National Guard. Anyway, that's my part of that.
Yeah. Sorry for cutting you off again. Sorry about that.
What were you going to say?
No. So, yeah, I just wanted to apologize for cutting you off. I did not hear you then.
You started saying something, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. But I was just going to say that, see, you are correct in the sense that militias were never meant to be formed in their own little fashion. But militias were also there to inexplicitly not let the government get out of control.
No, I don't believe that. I believe it's because if you think of the 18th century, the country was brand new. The country didn't have a lot of money for a standing army. The country was worried about, wild Indians or Canadians coming across the border or whatever they were worried about. And they knew they couldn't afford an army, so they said, we need all the little villages and towns across the country to form militias to help protect the country. Today, we've got the biggest fucking army in the world, so we don't really need those militias to protect us. And that's why these people a few years ago started saying, well, what they wanted to protect us against is our own government, which is a bunch of shit. And if you think about just common sense, if you had just taken the country away from the King of England, and now you're in power, are you going to say, we want to make sure that any clown out there can come and shoot us and take it away from us now? No, it's just not a human thing to do.
Yeah.
Can I interject one thing real quick?
No, I mean, yes.
Going back to GMK's statement, my interpretation is that the citizenry should be as well armed as the rank and file riflemen. Who in their right mind thinks that if it comes down to protecting ourselves from this government, that this government is only going to send riflemen in here? You're going to have A-10 Warthogs taking out a whole block within 3 passes, short formation, coming in one after another with that 6-barrel Gatling gun, 20 millimeter. They'll destroy the city block in 5 seconds, whatever time it takes.
Then they'll follow that up with a column of tanks just to make sure.
Yes, and then dozers, because we're not going to pick up the pieces. We'll just have Trump come in here and redevelop this shit.
I'll be standing out. I'll be standing out there with my 30-30 Winchester saying, "You can't take me." And it's like, yeah, that'll last about 10 seconds.
Yeah, that'll go over. They'll believe that shit, huh?
In 1992, I was a Rakkasan, that 3rd of the 187th Infantry, under the command of then Lieutenant Colonel, he grew up, David E. Petraeus. I don't know if you guys know that name.
Oh, yes.
But he wanted us to experiment with a live fire range that included built-up bunkers out of sandbags and concrete and trenches that the engineers set up for us to play war with. And what he experimented with is to take all of the M60s. That's a tool that most citizens can't get. An M60 is a 7.62 machine gun. And they would set up in the oversight so the riflemen could bound into the built-up fortress. And the idea is you do like an L formation. The 60s provide suppressive fire, and the riflemen they bound into the objective, and we move the 60 rounds forward. Basically, it keeps the enemy's heads down while we attack. Well, the idea was to have all this firepower as Overwatch and have the lightweight infantry for the entire battalion doing the main attack. And as the main infantry was moving forward and the 60s were spraying everything they had of live ammo, by the end of the exercise, there was no built-up village anymore. Those M60 rounds tore apart all the concrete, all the sandbags, leveled the trenched-in areas. So it just wasn't there. It really pissed the engineers off, but it showed, like, if I'm allowed to have an AR-15 and they have M60s, I'm going to lose.
Yeah. See, I was going to say as well that, especially in the 80s, with what you were saying, the American military started paying really close attention to how CQC worked after what they witnessed on the TV with the SAS.
SAS. Oh, SAS. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Special Air Service.
Sorry.
No, I was just telling them SAS stood for Special Air Service.
Yeah.
The guys that taught our special forces.
While you guys were talking about the Second Amendment, I'd remembered something, and I pulled it up. Honestly, I didn't remember it from memory, so I pulled it up. And it's Federalist 29, written by founding father and immigrant and lawyer Alexander Hamilton. And he says, quote, "If circumstances should at any time oblige the government to form an army of any magnitude, that army can never be formidable to the liberties of the people. While there is a large body of citizens, little if at all inferior to them in discipline and the use of arms, who stand ready to defend their rights. This kind of suggests to me two things. One, our standing Army, National Guard, Marine Corps, ICE, should never be formed against our citizens. But if they are, our citizens should be able to defend from it, which makes me question the absolutists, as Fletch, what'd you call it, a literalist? Absolute. I'm not sure how you phrased it, but if we have armed men in masks and no shown badges, dressed up in military attire, who won't identify themselves, won't say why they're arresting, who they're arresting, it looks like a kidnapping. Where are these Second Amendment absolutists stepping out with their rifles and other arms to stop these kidnappings? I kind of wonder, isn't that the reason that they believe in the Second Amendment in the way they do? I don't know.
I was going to say that there was a very important quote I've just remembered, and it's defending the White House is important, but defending my own house is even more important.
Amen. Amen. And my neighbor's house, even if he does speak Spanish.
Something else Fletch mentioned earlier after Alan was talking about warthogs and stuff. Fletch mentioned Vietnam and Afghanistan, and I'll just say that Alan was talking about Cleveland or New York City or Oklahoma City or whatever. It's a big difference between that and jungles and mountains. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, Dennis, that you could have a really good resistance though in an urban environment. Like if you look at like Chechnya or Kosovo in the 90s, that was like all city based and they were really good at repelling stuff.
So was Stalingrad.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to address Fletch here. He's asking if I'm saying ICE is acting outside their legal standing. How do I put this?
Hell yeah.
Their job is to detain, try, and deport people who are here illegally. So when they detain and deport American citizens or immigrants that are here illegally, they're outside their legal standing. But more importantly, when they do so and they won't identify what the charges is, what the reasonable articulable suspicion is, what the probable cause is, and they end up accidentally deporting American citizens and people here are illegally, they are way outside their legal standing. But
Yeah.
what I was talking about with the Second Amendment people who take it literally, when you see a bunch of armed people gathering somebody up and they're masked and they won't identify their RAS or probable cause or warrant or even what agency they're from, it looks like a kidnapping. In fact, actual kidnappings have occurred because people are getting used to this. That is way outside. And finally, the use of the National Guard, the Marine Corps, ATF, FBI, etc., to follow suit with ICE and help ICE do this, that is way outside their political and their legal parameters.
Could I say something then? Sorry.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I'll let you other guys go, but I was just going to say that with ICE, if they carry out their job humanely and legally, I understand, but they should not be breaking the law. They should not be treating people as inhuman, and they should not be going beyond the means of their power. And the one thing, when you were saying about the National Guard and stuff being employed, I'm completely against that, because America has witnessed that before and it turns out really terrible. I don't want to see the National Guard mobilized against protesters, because protesting is your right in America. People should not be penalized for protesting.
I find it interesting when people
respond to what Fletch said to me here. Equipment doesn't win awards. The resolve of those to do the fight. And that's a cute saying. Yeah, and there's some truth to it. You know, the idea that maybe part of the reason that we had so much trouble with Vietnam and Afghanistan is, well, because we were fighting against people who were defending their homes. But it's also a stupid thing to say in this conversation, because I can have all the resolve in the world. And like I say, I'm standing out there with my 30-30 Winchester, and I do the full Gandalf, you shall not pass. And I have firm resolve. And some 18-year-old kid who's worried about getting home to play his video game runs me over with the fucking tank. The equipment just won that. My resolve had nothing to do with it.
That's a very good point. And he's asking me, how many of the citizens arrested were interfering with ICE in their legal duties? Well, that's a good question. ICE is sworn to the Constitution of the United States, which includes due process, and medical staff are sworn to serve their patients and protect their patients from harm, that they do patients no harm. Yeah. Now we have alleged ICE, men in masks, no badges, no warrants, coming into a clinic, a surgery clinic in California, and they're going after a patient. What does the medical staff do? They try to protect their patient. Now the medical people are charged with, quote, assaulting ICE. They never identified as ICE. They never identified a warrant. They never identified probable cause. They just came in and went after their patient. Somebody in this situation is not following their oath. And I would say somebody's not acting within their legal duties.
Yeah, because I mean, sorry.
Since we started talking about ICE, this is what I had put in the back, because I didn't want to, you were talking about other things. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted you to see, just read the headline. Don't worry about the article later. The ICE prosecutor in Dallas is a white supremacist. Pretty much what a lot of us have been saying for a long time.
Yeah.
That's who they're recruiting. So they're worried about being fair.
Yeah.
Can I interject one thing real quick on the ICE issue?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to address this to any of the absolute constitutional absolutists that are listening. At which point do you pick up firearms against your government on the immigration issue when you've got a president who's married 2 immigrants? The last one, overstater visa, had 3 anchor babies, and just because we haven't gotten to that point yet, that the Supreme Court says, yeah, let's get them all. When they do, if they do, I want to see those 3 goddamn anchor babies be the first motherfuckers sent to Guantanamo Bay. Somebody refute that. Tell me when you're ready to pick up a gun, because you ain't ready to. You're ready to talk about the shit, sit behind a keyboard and go, oh, I'm an absolutist and I'm a patriot. Kiss my ass.
Yeah, see, I would say that you should not pick up a gun in terms of like political reasons or for political violence. The only time you should pick up a firearm is for, like you go into the range or for self-defense. That's it.
Don't forget, Alan, she also brought her parents in on one of the, what they call it, chain visa or whatever, something else that Trump is against.
But see, that would be under a different Supreme Court ruling according to these absolutists. So they can say that they'll wait until it gets bad, but how bad does it have to be before they'll step up out of their basement, go out on the street and start doing what you say you're going to do with them firearms? You're not going to. You're talking shit. I grew up in a household with a lifetime member of the NRA. I took my first hunter safety course at the age of 12 at a Sears Roebuck store, but it was put on by the NRA. The NRA became no longer a firearm safety and education organization. Yeah. It became a goddamn organization that is simply representing manufacturers and sales of firearms. Yep. They don't give a shit about your right to own unless you're buying a new one.
I want to just say this to Fletch.
What?
My raised fist.
Raised fist.
He's over there telling GMK that raised fist.
Hey, Fletch, I'm a fud. Why don't you come find my ass? I'll fudge you.
Wait a minute. Raised fist means what?
You're a commie. That's a communist symbol.
Uh,
Well, let me
Well,
ask my
he's
AI.
going to be a serious fighter now. He's calling me a FUD.
A
I
what?
got your FUD hanging, boy.
FUD. What the hell's a FUD?
I don't know. Ask Fletch.
Fletch,
it's
what's
like
Hey, Fletch, homeboy. I'm at least coming up here with my real
FUD.
name. What the fuck is yours?
All right. The raised fist is a powerful and widely recognized symbol that has been used across political, cultural, and social movements. Its meaning depends on its context, but generally it signifies solidarity, unity, and collective strength, often among oppressed or marginalized groups, resistance, defiance against authority, injustice, or perceived oppression, empowerment, assertion of agency, strength, or determination, revolution or protest, symbolic call to action or radical change. If I go further, labor movements, sometimes socialists, anarchists, and sometimes communists, black power, GMK, are you doing black power? Feminist movements, maybe GMK is doing a feminist movement. But we'll go back to the original. It's widely recognized symbol has been used across political, cultural, and social movements. So it goes on BLM, Occupy Wall Street, anti-fascists. So it's not necessarily communist.
oh yeah, it's definitely not a communist thing because it goes all the way back to like I think pre-World War II, and then a multitude of groups used it, like the Black Panthers, in the Italy during the years of lead, both sides used the power fist. Obviously BLM in recent years. It's a symbol that's used by a lot of people, not just communists.
And GMK is making sure we notice that it's a rainbow fist. It's not just any fist. It's a rainbow fist. So this is a fist he uses to do rectal probes on unicorns. No, okay, all right. Bad joke. Oh.
Well, gentlemen, I've enjoyed the conversation. But when we've got individuals like Fletch 83 afraid to bring his own fucking name into the conversation because he sits behind the keyboard, I'm going to get out before I start using profanity I really want to use. Hey, Fletch, go fuck yourself.
Oh.
Thanks for having you, mates. Take care.
Hey.
Nice talking to you, gentlemen. Enjoy your day.
Nice to meet you.
See you.
Who's this communist? Female Roman statue. Oh. So the Romans used it too.
Yeah, those goddamn commie Romans.
I know, yeah, jeez.
I still want to know what a FUD is. Okay, I'm going to ask ChatGPT.
I think a FUD is, if I remember correctly, it's like the ones who look down on the, it's like a former generation that looks down on the current generation. If I might be wrong, though.
In gun culture, particularly online or within Second Amendment circles, FUD is a slang term often used derogatorily to describe a gun owner is a gun owner who supports the Second Amendment only selectively, typically or hunting or sporting firearms, but not for modern semi-automatic rifles, handguns. Oh, okay, I see. If you're in the inner circle of a select view of the Second Amendment, it's meant as a derogatory.
Oh,
I don't believe he said.
Sorry.
I don't believe he said he was opposed to AR-15s, or you can't hunt deer with that, or these usual. But I guess if you're going to make up words in your circles, you can apply them however you want.
I was going to say, sorry about that. There's a good video on YouTube describing FUDs where it's a generational thing. Where's the guy going, hey, check out, the army's now giving us HKs and they're really lightweight and they've got stopping power. And the guy next to him goes, oh, that thing's a damn gimmick. Back in my day, we just used an M4 and ACOG. You know, we gave the Taliban hell. And it keeps going back and back and back.
All right. And Fletch, I don't know anything about the name FUD except for Elmer Fudd. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting wabbit. I get it strictly from, I asked ChatGPT, what is FUD? What I told you wasn't me cherry picking. That's what AI told me. I don't know. It's a new word to me, like a year ago, PDF file, or unalive, or what are some of the other code words they use? Bagel.
Riz or Giat.
I'm a little bit behind on YouTube terminology. So I use internet tools to help me find out that a FUD is a Second Amendment cherry picker. Oh, it's literally a cherry picker. Okay. And as this thing will cherry pick it as much as you want. Okay. I guess I'm a FUD for cherry picking what I'm reading verbatim from. Oh, okay. All right. You're okay, Fletch. I don't care what Muxter said about you. Cherry picking.
One
Oh, okay.
thing I often, the argument I have with people that, we'll just call them Second Amendment people, or gun nuts, whatever you want to call them, is
homosexuals.
They're against oh God, I just lost my words.
So I take a minute, they'll come back to you.
I need a drink.
No, it's all right. You were saying about the Second Amendment people.
Yeah, I know. I just can't think of the term that I want.
Oh.
Gun control. I knew it was something simple. They'll say they're against gun control. I find it hard to believe that you can find more than a dozen people in this country who are actually against gun control, because I don't know, Fletch obviously is a big Second Amendment guy. I wonder if he has any problem with his neighbor owning a 50 caliber machine gun and a RPG, artillery piece. I mean, but most people, if you say something like that, do you think people should have operational tanks? I'll go, no, of course. Well, you just described gun control. It's all just on where you want to draw the lines. Some people want to draw the lines at semi-automatic. Some people want to draw the line at automatic. Some people want it whatever. And there's actually very few. It's a small minority of the left wing that says we want all guns gone.
Yeah. I think as well is that a lot of people forget that we could implement gun control on a state-by-state basis. So, for example, see what the needs of the state are,
Pennsylvania is a big hunting state. It's like, I mean, when I was in school, the Monday and Thursday following Thanksgiving was a holiday, a school holiday, because that was the first 2 days of deer season. So that tells you about where I live. But Pennsylvania has a lot of regulations about what you couldn't hunt deer with a semi-automatic. You have to have the plug in your shotgun, so the shotgun can only have 3 shells. You couldn't own an automatic. All that. You have to have a permit for a handgun. Now some of those may have changed some since I was last worried about that stuff, but still, I mean, we have gun control, even though it's a state that very much believes in people having guns.
Yeah, because we can have that where, it's a case of in a metropolitan state where, there's no wildlife to hunt, people don't need hunting rifles, but they're still permitted to certain firearms. But if you live in like a very wilder state that's got a lot of dangerous animal life, I can understand if they can permit people to own high caliber weapons for protection against said wildlife,
Like my step nephew in Montana.
Yeah, like Montana, yeah.
The infringed meaning no touchy. Am I to understand that means no age restriction, no criminal background check, no, basically, if you live in America, you can just go down to the corner store, gun store next to the candy store, and just pick up your AR-15 or your AK-47 or your variations of those. Am I interpreting that right, Fletch, or anybody else to?
Well, Fletch
Anything
does
like
say he has no problem with his neighbor owning an RPG and a 20 millimeter machine gun.
Right. I mean, if I'm understanding that correctly, and I think there's an 18-second delay. So basically, the only requirement to buy a gun is to have the money to buy it, right? Otherwise, you can't infringe it. So, and it's interesting that we did also briefly cover ICE and what is ICE doing, who is ICE doing it to. So apparently ICE is going after people here illegally, and they feel that they have to use force. But if I'm understanding, Finkel, it used to be like that, or should return to that. Okay, so if it was like that, if you could just go down to your corner store and pick up your AR-15, AK-47, 9mm Glock, whatever, shotgun, you could pick these weapons up. All you need is the money or the something to trade. Okay, purist. What happens if you're a really, really bad guy from Guatemala or El Salvador? So there's nothing to stop that person from getting it. And now when ICE comes to kidnap you, detain you, you're very well armed. It seems like we would have a huge problem there. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
He is right though. Back in like the 30s, you could go into a hardware store and buy a Tommy gun.
Yeah, you could, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's probably accurate, and that's why I said earlier the genie's out of the bottle as far as what bad guys have the guns and what bad guy can trade guns off the market in their yard sales and outside. Every year we have a big gun show at Dulles. In the park, the gun show itself, you go in and there's licensed dealers, but outside in the parking lot, people are trading and buying all kinds of guns without any kind of infringement at all.
Yeah.
What
Do you
the
know?
hell?
I was going to say though, there is no such thing as a constitution absolutist, because where did they draw the line on the Constitution? Because a lot of amendments were made after it was written. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I believe that if an amendment needs to be changed, like we decide we don't want people to consume alcohol, we'll pass a constitutional amendment prohibiting alcohol. And when we realize, okay, alcohol is not so bad, the next constitutional amendment we pass will allow alcohol. So whatever you think of the Second Amendment, if you don't like it, we're kind of stuck with it until there's an actual amendment. The problem is its interpretation. It means, I mean, I say I take it literally, and Fletch says I take it literally, and Muxter says I take it literally. But to each of us, a well-regulated militia being necessary for a free state, I should remember this. So go back to it. Basically, those
Security.
words put together mean something. I'm sorry?
Security was the word you missed.
Yeah. A well-regulated mission being necessary for the security of a free state, the right of the people, the collective, and I'm seeing that as a collective. Fletch sees it as individuals. A well-regulated militia, I see that as National Guard, Police, Army, Air Force, Navy, Marine Corps, Space Force. I'll blast you with my space modulator. Fletch sees that as people old enough to hold a gun. The words are there. It's just how are we interpreting? And I will admit I'm wrong, because the Supreme Court and circuit courts and state laws have tried to interpret it many times, and never have they fully agreed with my interpretation.
You know, the thing
I say
is,
we
too,
need to go ahead.
people like Fletch are saying, well, that's the way the founders wanted it. That's the way it should be. But the thing is, if you're just going to say that they wrote the Constitution, very purposefully, well, the Constitution also allowed slavery. The Constitution didn't let women vote, and that's what amendments are for. So like the Second Amendment is not some holy thing that is absolutely inviolable. I messed up that word, but anyway, anything in the Constitution can be changed, because the world changes, society changes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that is completely perfect way of putting it. I am completely in agreement with you there, because we have to make changes as society changes. And also, for the arguments of people who are like, well, that's what the founding fathers intended, so that's how we must live by. By that statement, you would have to live as the founding fathers lived. And,
Mhm.
We'd all be Amish.
I believe they had the foresight to make our Constitution livable. You can amend it. If you don't like alcohol, you can amend it to prohibit alcohol. If you decide that's a bad amendment, you can amend the amendment. And that is part of our growing pains as a nation, as a constitution. For example, during the Civil War, what was it to be in the military? Well, if you lived in Osceola Mills, you'd probably enlist in the 80th or the 150th Pennsylvania Volunteer Infantry or Cavalry to go fight Johnny Reb, because everybody in the town in Osceola Mills felt the same way about the issues of the day, slavery, Johnny Reb, breaking away from the Union, all those things. You were like-minded. Today, if you're in a Army unit, your barracks mates are going to be from California and New York. They're going to be black and they're going to be white. They're going to be liberals and they're going to be conservatives. They're going to be Catholics and Protestants and Jews and atheists. Basically, you don't have regiments from specific towns that went to the same church and have the same ancestry. You have truly mixed representation of the people.
yeah.
I'm kind of on a bandwagon here, aren't I?
No, you're right. Because
You like that how you
you're American, and that is, one of the greatest values someone can hold. I'm British, but I praise America up and down. I know it's got problems, but I consider it one of the greatest countries on earth.
Charlie Daniels once wrote a song saying, we may have stumbled, but we ain't never failed. He missed a word in those lyrics, yet. I feel that we are very close to failing. 250 years was a good run. It was a good run. Donald Adolf Trump is in charge, and it may be the end. I don't know. I mean, we can't have a modern 8-gauge because it seems as a destructive device due to bore diameter.
I did not know that.
I didn't know there was an 8-gauge, or is that musket ball size? I'm thinking shotgun when you say gauge.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The biggest shotgun I ever fired was a 10-gauge, and that was enough for my shoulder there. I wouldn't want to move to an 8-gauge.
Yeah, I was going to say, you've got the Russian shotgun. Sorry, mate.
Oh, you're good.
What?
Oh, sorry, I was just going to say there's a Russian shotgun that fires like, it's like 20 millimeters rounds or something.
I don't know. I'm no good at converting.
How about a nuke? How about a nuke? Can people own nukes? Well, shall not be infringed. Can a 6-year-old buy a cannon? It was funny when Holly and I were in Rehoboth. We had a toy store, and the guy was telling us the history of every friggin' toy in his store, and he included a history of a science kit that they had in the 50s that included uranium. They were actually selling uranium to kids in the science kit in the 1950s. And I'm like, wow, that times have changed. We can't buy Tommy guns at the AM/PM, and we can't buy uranium at the toy store anymore.
I forget the thing, but it was something like the Radium Children, where at the time radium was like this new wonder thing that they had found without realizing how like deadly it was. And it was like this big thing in America where all these women who were working in the factories with radium were like, they were not living to a long age. The children were, I won't say the words, but I can guess what you're going to say. Obviously, like a lot of health issues with that, just because of radium paint.
Raised in, I'm sorry, what was the last part? Raised in?
Oh, radium paint.
Radium.
Oh, radium. Oh, okay. That's the glow in the dark stuff they use in
Yeah.
like army compasses and stuff. Okay, that's right. That's right. That's radioactive too. I don't know how strong, but yeah, you can buy it and
You
have
know
it
the
shipped to your
little,
door. No,
you know the
I'm
little
sorry.
filament that's in a Coleman propane lamp.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh.
That's what we used when we were when I was taking the radiology course for emergency management. That's what we used to learn how to use the Geiger counters. Is those things have a little
Hmm.
radioactivity to them.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Hey, we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. My ass is still sticking to this chair. I'm not used to sitting in this chair this much. I think I'm going to call it a day, unless you guys want to keep going. I always ask when Mux or someone's on, should I end stream or should I just exit and let you guys have at it?
No,
I'm
I'll
okay either
jump
way.
out, mate. Before I go, is there anyone wants to ask or?
What was that?
But I'll jump out of the stream if you want to close it. But I was just going to say, does anyone want to ask me anything before I leave?
Yeah, I've been having this nagging question since you first came up. How do I address you if I ever see you again? Is it Baron Owitz? Baron Owitz?
Yeah, just say Bear,
How do you
because
pronounce it?
it's a mouthful to say my full name. Sorry.
Oh, okay, Bear. Thank you for joining us, Bear. And
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been amazing, and hopefully do this again soon, guys.
Yep.
yeah, if you don't see us here, you might see us at a channel called Chat and Play. We don't usually. Well, I should let Muxer speak for that. He owns that one. But as I understand it, Chat and Play is usually just we're sitting around chatting. We don't really have a specific topic. I try to have a specific topic, but we stray.
Okay, then I'll search it up now just as I leave. But again, thank you guys, and I hope you have a lovely evening.
Yep.
All right.
Good meeting you.
Thank you for joining. Yeah.
And thanks to everybody that was in chat. Even Fletch, you made the conversation more.
We disagreed on things. I'm taking the wrench away not because I'm mad or disagree with you, but because I only gave it to you for sharing that remove as managing monitor. Only because you were given the wrench so you could share a link. But I think we're done with that link. So no offense, but I'm taking you away, which leaves Nerdy as the only wrench holder in this channel. Well, besides the channel owners. Later, everybody. Hello, Nerdy. I'm sorry if you just joined us. We were just getting ready to go our separate ways and badmouth each other when we can't hear each other. Not to make fun of Bear, but I always sign off with cheerio. And of course, I didn't time that right. Cheerio and end stream twice. Okay, cheerio.
Thank you for joining us in our attempt to escape reality for a while. See you next time.
Yeah.